watching younger, hotter, more successful people come along and just get it like that, it's so hard not to feel like this empty wave of, and not even because I don't have that, but I just think about all the band members I've lost, all the friends I've lost, the fiance I almost lost. And I'm just like in pursuit of an idea that I had when I was 16. It feels so self-serving, but I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to do.
Hey, what's up, Ollie? How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we chatted 3 years ago on this podcast.
Oh man, where does it all go, you know?
Isn't that crazy? It was the middle of COVID, and I don't even know if you had announced the name of the last album out
Yeah.
yet, Into the Raging Sea. I don't even know if that was out yet or anything. It was kind of like, yeah, we had this idea, and then COVID, and so
The good old days, the playing video games all day days.
exactly. So I'm excited to chat with you again and kind of get caught up on what y'all have done in the last three years now.
Yeah, no, it's I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me again. That's great.
Yeah, I love your skateboard decks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I started rewarding myself on tour now where I'm like, I don't like to buy too many things, you know, because traveling. So I
Yeah,
recently just started just collecting decks from all across the country and then only skating some of them. So
that's
I appreciate
awesome.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I skateboarded as a kid growing up. I mean, that was my whole thing, skateboarding and going to shows.
That's so sick. Yeah. I mean I'm not even gonna lie, you know, nowadays it's just kind of cruising and bombing hills. I try to avoid all the
The
intense
tricks.
stuff, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I'm almost 40, so it's like my older son was picking up skateboarding for a little bit, so I was all stoked. I'm like building him little fun boxes and stuff. We
Oh,
took
that's
him to the
rad.
skate park, and I'm like out there trying to be a hero, and yeah, I'm like way too old for this.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Uh
But yeah, because last time we chatted, you were like in your kitchen or something. And I just
yeah.
remember it was Zoom and you had your background, you put up like Walt Disney World, like the front of Walt Disney World.
What an
Uh,
idiot.
you're like, I'm just hanging out here waiting for it to open up.
Oh yeah, just
Uh,
oh man, that's
so,
rad.
yeah, so it's cool to see your room this time. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, here we go.
not that the
Not that the
the
Disney
Disney
didn't
World
impress you.
wasn't funny. Yeah, it was hilarious. Cool.
Uh,
Well, yeah, actually, I listened to the other interview, so we don't repeat a bunch of stuff. So if people are coming on again, they can listen to the first one.
mm,
But I want to kind of just recap a little bit what we chatted about since it's been 3 years.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
I didn't find out where you were actually born and raised.
So I was born in Orange County, California.
Oh, you were? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
from San Diego. I recently moved to Nashville, but I born and raised in San Diego.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, so I was born there and moved moved from California around 3, and so grew up mostly in Las Vegas, Nevada, in a town called Henderson.
Oh, okay.
Um, and that's pretty much where I spent like the primary years, but like, you know, the years where I developed into my young adult, the punk rock years I spent
Okay.
between Vegas and then after the man my mom was dating, he passed away, and you
Oh my
know,
gosh.
well, yes, I did throw it out there like that, but I also, you know, the government gives you money, you know, when
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 these
you're
things
poor and
happen.
these things happen. So then we moved back to the East Coast when I was around 13 in
Okay.
Richmond, Virginia. So
Oh, you did
between
move to Richmond. Okay.
yeah, and then that's where the band thing started, and that's where the angst really set in, you know. So late Vegas, I'd say the crime of Vegas, and then the wanting the crime to exist in Virginia is what really made me who I am.
I love that. I know you were talking about going to a show. I think you saw The Cure, right? With like Thursday and
Oh yeah,
uh
I just saw them again recently on this last tour, and I cry.
you saw The Cure or you saw Thursday?
I saw the Cure. Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
amazing. I had
hmm
a chance to see them once. They played, I think they're at Coachella when I saw them. Like this is years
Oh,
ago,
that's crazy
but it
sick.
was cool. But yeah, we were talking about Thursday last time too, because I think that's why you wanted to sign with Victory. I think originally,
Literally
yeah.
100%. Yeah. No, I still want to see. I want to get the opportunity to see them again now that I see that they're like having touring and that sort of thing. But it just hasn't lined up. But I'll always have the good memories.
Yeah,
I'll always have
exactly.
full collapse.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's that one is. They did a reunion tour when I was
Mhm.
still in San Diego, and they played Full Collapse at this like little club. It was insane.
That's legitimately so sick.
Yeah, and then they also did it again though when I saw them with Taking Back Sunday, so that was cool. But they weren't even like the headliner; they're just kind of in the middle of the lineup.
So
Um,
bizarre.
but it was it was cool as shit, man.
Yeah, that's sick.
So yeah, okay, you were talking to me last time about you went to the show and then
Hmm.
that kind of sparked your interest for music
Hmm.
and you downloaded like Audacity. I can't remember. I think it was Audacity
Audacity, yeah.
or Ableton or something. Yeah, Audacity. And then you were kind of making your own songs, right? At that point, were you in high school in Virginia at that time, or were you still in
Yes.
Vegas?
No, so I was in high school in Virginia, and it's what's so funny, dude, is I'm so happy that I'm not friends with anybody from my high school because, dude, I was just taking any instrument I could. Like, I'd be like borrowing my uncle's guitar and like finding a keyboard, plugging it into Audacity, and then just like recording sound, right? And I was just like, this is how you do it. And then I would burn them onto a CD, right? And then
Uh,
you back in the day, I'd get those little like white, you go up to like Target or Walmart,
oh
whatever,
yeah.
the little white stickers draw my name on them. And I was literally handing them out at school. I called myself Modern Dream Crisis.
Oh, that's amazing.
Just emotional, I wanted to be the Cure so bad. And I'm just lucky that I don't have to talk to any of those people because if they brought that up, I might just have a heart attack. But
You're like, this I'm not that's not me. What the hell are you talking about?
I think I even had a slight fake British accent going through puberty. So it haunts me to this day to think somebody's going to pop up into my life and be like, yo, Modern Dream Crisis.
Do you have a copy of it like
I
somewhere?
definitely have it somewhere. I have a copy of that, and I was in a metalcore band before, like once I hit the later parts of high school, and I have a copy of that too, which is equally embarrassing. But then once I realized that I could merge the two, that's kind of where it all started, and that was I'd say I started taking myself seriously as a musician probably immediately after I graduated high school because it was either like go to college or start a band. And nobody in my family went to college, so they were like, I don't know what the hell to do. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start a band.
That worked out. Were
Yeah,
you in
exactly.
the with the band you were in high school? What ended up stopping or ending
Yeah,
once you got
yeah, they pretty much ended
graduated?
up yeah, they ended up stopping. And then like I did the local show circuit for like 4 to 5 years, ended up opening for some pretty cool bands. But then realistically what happened was I just depending on other people was a nightmare once I hit around like 19. So I, believe it or not, started to I was really also s- into R&B, like just huge into like that, which is
Yeah,
a
I
whole
mean those are
thing.
great
Um,
vocalists, right?
right, that's the thing. I learned a lot about singing straight up from R&B records. Like I've never been classically trained or anything like that. So that's kind of
Wow.
like where I learned like how to do runs and all this cool, interesting stuff. And I was just pulled to it. I just really liked the vivid imagery of R&B. I
Mhm.
liked that they were, just kind of confident and the voices was always really interesting to me. So um I started to do R&B for a while and I was like going on Craigslist and just like finding random producers to record me and shit. It's just like ridiculous.
What were you writing like your own
Yeah,
songs, or were
yeah,
you
I was
doing
like
cover
writing
songs? Okay.
songs, trying to find like beats online that I could sing over. And then I found this guy, right? He wanted to manage me. And basically we just hung out for like a month and he got me to do some like local radio stuff. And it was like a local R&B radio. And I was like, oh God, this is getting real. Like this is getting terrible. And then
That's awesome.
I know. I was like, oh my, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I was at the time I was living in my friend's garage. Like, I had sealed off the corners so ants wouldn't come in, and my manager would come over and be like, "All right, let's work on some vocals." And I'm like, all right." I still don't know how to really record anything, because in high school with all those bands, it's just like a friend who happens to know how to
Right.
record.
Right. Exactly. Of
Yeah,
course.
and then so, that happened, and honestly, dude, I got an email one day because I had a cover of "Stand by Me"
Mhm.
on YouTube, like R&B cover, and
Yeah.
I had a little bit of grit in my tone. And the drummer of a band, Broadside, their singer had just quit on Warp Tour because he had too much anxiety or something. They were like following the tour, selling CDs, and they were. This is crazy, dude. The guy who they were selling CDs for, uh, so he was in a band called A Loss for Words,
Oh wow,
and
I know that band.
and this is the crazy thing. He reached out to me and he was like, "Yo, our singer just quit. We were guaranteed to play a Warped Tour date if we sold all the CDs to for this, you know, for the they're on inside. We're handing out our CDs and then selling Pure Noise CDs or like the label." And you know, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks." He was like, "Would you like to come and try to be in our band? We're really looking for that like Johnny Craig, like R&B kind of vibe." And I was like,
Okay.
"All right, I've never been in a pop punk band. I'll give it a go." I was like, "Where do you live though?" And he was
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, in Virginia." And I was like, "Oh, I'm in Virginia. Like, where are you at?" And he gave me the address and it was 4 minutes from my house.
No way.
And he had
That's
no idea.
crazy.
So I go there, blah, blah, blah. I'm in the band. Here I am today. And you ready for this? My manager today is the very same person that was having them sell CDs.
No way. I thought you were gonna say it's the guy from the garage.
It's the singer. No, it's the singer of A Loss for Words. Yeah.
No way. That's
Yeah, dude.
crazy.
Full on full circle with that. But yeah, so that's I've been cruising with this probably about 10, maybe 10 and a half years now, I think, with just Broadside. And it's been so many faces, so much traveling. I've lived so many different places. I went back to LA for a while and now here I am and just keep pushing
Are,
forward.
are you back in Richmond?
So I was in Richmond last time you talked to me, and now I'm down in I just towards when all those wild whites rushed the Capitol as the day I moved
Ah.
down to Orlando
Oh
to be with the
man.
rest of my band, and
Okay.
so now I'm in Orlando, and you know what? I'm gonna be here for about another 7 months, and then I got to get out of here too. I don't know what it is. I just haven't found that place. My fiance and I haven't found that place where we just want to be present for
I
a
think
long time.
you'd look good here in Nashville.
So you know what's funny?
I
That is, I think, the next move because I have a lot of friends out there.
was
We
gonna
record an
say,
album out there, and it's close to me. I get the mountains, I get the cool people, and I get to be around music. So I'm legitimately thinking that is what's going to happen. So
that
funny
would
you
be
should say that.
sick, man. I mean, your genre. When I
Yeah,
moved here, we moved in February 21, came out in December 2020 to check it out. I was like, okay, this is gonna be just like a total like country music town, which I mean
right.
heavily is obviously,
Sure.
but so many bands, like I was interviewing a lot of art. What sparked me was like a lot of the artists I was interviewing were living in either Nashville or Franklin or like around the area. And it was like, where they're like, oh yeah, I live in Franklin. I'm like, where's that? And they're like, oh, in like 20 minutes south of Nashville. I'm like, no way. So it was like Anthony of Bayside and
Oh, whoa.
Brian Key of Yellow Card, who I think
Right.
ended up moving, and Dashboard lives here, and like all these bands, like the guys from Under Oath and
Right.
the guy Maddie from uh, Memphis May Fire. I mean, he lives right down like 4 minutes from my house. I mean, it's just crazy. Like that scene is here, and I was like,
That's what I'm
no
saying.
way.
I'm noticing a lot of people are saying that. Are you in I'm thinking about East Nashville at least, but that's just where I've spent a lot of my time. But I'm planning to come down like after this next tour, and my fiance and I are going to go around and just check out all the areas that people have recommended.
Okay,
What I was gonna say, where you at?
I'm like down. I live in Spring Hill, which is like down by like south of Franklin a little bit.
Okay, cool.
That's where Cody from Wage War. There's a lot of people that live around in this area,
Okay, cool.
but we're about 35 minutes from the downtown Nashville.
That's
East
perfect.
Nashville is like close to obviously, but that's a little hit. That's like more of the hipper area.
I was gonna
This down
say,
here is more like, we live down here because I got two kids. We're in the burbs, but
I
I
mean,
like
I
the
don't.
burbs.
I was gonna say I've been in the burbs here for the past year and a half, but the problem with the burbs here is it's just vintage people, which I have no disrespect, but I'm just like, like you're living your life, but I feel unholy, because I like to run, and when I'm feeling myself, I like to run with no shirt on, and I'm heavily tattooed. I feel strange running by some of these old people, and they're breaking their necks in the front of their yard, like, what the hell?
Oh, you'll fit right in, dude. No, dude, like no one would even bat an eye
That's
if
what I'm
you're running
saying.
around here
So
fully
I'll have to
tatted
check that
up.
out. I'll have to check that out because I like the
Dude,
burbs now. And
that'd be
I'm about to be 35. I gotta start thinking like, what is it? What matters to me? An $8 coffee or a nice peace and quiet? I could drink my coffee in the backyard. You know what I mean?
you'd
So
love it here. That's the vibe down here. And again, that'd be so sick if you moved here.
okay.
But back to you. So now you're in Orlando.
Yep.
I forgot where we were going. Oh, so you guys were before you joined Broadside was following around the Warped Tour. They were allowed to sell CDs in
To the line. Yep.
but they weren't allowed to play unless they sold all of the CDs for
Yeah,
them.
exactly. It was like, hey, if you want to help us out, like sell you're pushing your CDs to the line, having kids like listen to Broadside, and if you want to help out, they have these like compilation CDs of like the label, artists on
Mhm.
the label, and they're like, oh yeah, you peddle some of these, and then like we'll strike a deal. I'll let you play a couple dates at the end of Warped Tour. So basically, they would probably get them like a guest pass, and then like probably set it up with whatever it is. I think at that time they had like one of those artist stages where it's like, you could get recommended
Oh, yeah,
uh
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that was the situation, but their singer just bailed before, like right before that was supposed to happen. And he reached out to me. I didn't end up finishing obviously Warp Tour with them, but
I
I
was
just
gonna
like
ask you,
that
did you do
story.
those?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't do the dates. Did they even
No,
do
no.
the dates? Or were
No,
they
they
just
they
done?
ended up just coming back home. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know,
Okay.
such a bummer, but at the same
But you
time,
guys, yeah, I was gonna say now, I mean, you did like the last Warped Tour, I think, or like the
yeah,
last couple.
yeah, I did 2016 and then we did the very last one 2018.
So who cares? That's
I know.
awesome. Wow. Oh yeah. So you joined the band, then you guys put out Storyteller. That was kind of what
Mhm.
really sparked everything, right?
Exactly, yeah, and then immediately, like, because I'd been playing shows in the city for 5 plus years at that point, it was nice to kinda see, like, "Oh, wait, this is like an audience, like, people are showing up to see this band." You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, people were really stoked for me, and then also they were just stoked on the band because it was like, okay, they had the pop punk vibe, right? Like, the music, instrumentation, and sonically, but then they had, like I was trying to do this, like, wild, type of diva shit, and then, like,
Yeah.
the boyfriends at first hated it, you know what I mean? And then the girlfriends were like, "Oh, this is crazy cool," which naturally, you bring the ladies, you bring the men, bring the
Right.
boys, you know what I mean? And then they were like, "Oh, we can mosh and two-step to this? This is kinda fire." And I was like, "Well." And so I think they just liked that it wasn't gimmicky, it was just kind of like "Let's try this," and it worked out, and Richmond really did a good job at upholding us, um, and really pushing us out there. Yeah, because, um, people started to see that and they were like, "Oh, this is cool as shit." You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. With that, like joining them, like after they must have had some sort of like fan base at that point, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they
100%.
obviously weren't where you guys became,
Oh,
and
no, no,
even
no.
when you got signed, but like before that, like jumping in as the singer, was that weird? Like, did you have to hit the guy's songs from before?
Dude,
Or?
don't even get me started on that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Dude, they rolled up, bro. I had to practice and read off the damn lyrics on the page, and they're so bad, like
Oh
straight up,
man.
like full disrespect. Those lyrics sucked ass.
Full
Um,
disrespect.
yeah, it was just like whatever. Like respects no, no. They were just
Yeah.
bad, and it was just, like, not really brr, 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 and as far as fans, like, they were friends with a lot of cool bands at the time, like, there was a lot of East Coast bands that were doing it, and they were doing, like, little tours, and even when I first started the band, like, a year and a half in, we could only afford to do, like, the weekend tours, and because of Richmond, it's either, do we go up north or do we go down south? We would literally be like, "Okay, try to go up to Baltimore, try to go hit up Boston," never made it, into New York or anything like that, it was just way too expensive, and then
Uh-huh.
we'd come down to the Carolinas, and then we'd hit like the weird parts of Florida, not even make it to Orlando, just the weird, like, who the hell are you, man? Uh, parts of town. And so that's all we could do. We did that for like a solid year, and then what we did was when we finally could officially record Storyteller, we had a friend named Laura come down. We paid her $250 and she recorded a video. And Andrew, the drummer at the time, we sat down, and because of the connections he made through Warp Tour, because of whatever, we sat down and we cold emailed every person we knew, and sent the video. It was like, "Hey, we're a band out of Richmond, blah blah blah. Here's the music video." And then the next morning, we woke up and Alt Press Japan had posted it, and we were like, "Shit's different now,
Damn.
boys."
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, it really worked out. It just started to gain some traction there, and we were pushing for a little while, and then we started to get pretty big, play bigger shows in Richmond, but still not touring. And
Mhm.
then some labels reached out to us, but then like we had a member quit because he wanted to go be with his girlfriend, and then the label was like, "Oh, that was my favorite member. I'm not going to sign you anymore." Dumbass shit like that.
Oh,
Hmm.
really?
Yeah, and so Broadside was like a hometown hero band. Like our crowds in Richmond were like 200, 300. And
Uh-huh.
on a not label with having like two songs recorded, the shit was it was like crazy, you know what I mean? So then
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to cut you
yeah,
off, but I'm just
go for
curious
it.
real quick on the music side of it, just
Yeah.
because you had Storyteller, you said you only had one other song recorded. Like, how quickly were you able to like weed out the others old songs? Like, did that take a bit of time?
Yeah, that took like maybe 8 months, which
Okay.
it was so like long enough for me because he was just it was not in my range. The lyrics didn't make sense to me. I was just
Right. You
like,
were singing
man,
someone else's songs. You're just
yeah, it
like,
just
okay,
didn't
I'm
it
done with
didn't
this.
hit. I wanted to take the band to a more like eclectic, like personal and more like artsy with the lyricism at least. Like I
Yeah,
wanted
I mean,
people
you're a
to
great
reflect.
lyricist. It's
Right.
not like
Thank you.
yeah.
I had a lot of shit to say, I was young,
Yeah.
I was born in a car, you know what I mean? Like
Oh my gosh.
that's what kind of person wants to talk about it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. So,
uh
like, when you guys were getting approached by the label early on
yeah,
before the member quit,
yeah.
was a lot of your catalog still the older songs?
So we had like a bunch of newer stuff. We just couldn't afford to record it. So
Got
we
it.
had,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So then what happened was we recorded that and we recorded another song. It was called Avery, and then it ended up being a song called A Better Way, which is on our first record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
okay.
that was about at that time my best friend had passed away, and it was like three. So this is the other crazy thing, dude. What really pushed me into Broadside, and just to dial back, is I got that message. I went and tried out for the band. At the time, I was a maintenance man. I was a maintenance tech at an apartment complex, and they treated me so bad because I was young, and they were like old
Sure.
and jaded
To
and mad.
abuse you.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they would literally abuse me, like straight up. Like someone, was shot at the property, and they made me like hand scrub the blood off the concrete. They were just like abused
Oh,
the
damn.
wildest stuff, dude. But anyways, one day I get called into the office. My specialty was resurfacing bathtubs because I could handle the smell. I knew how to do it. I had a steady hand because
Uh-huh.
they're all
And
like
blood cleanup.
shaking. Yeah. And they made me teach this guy how to do it one day, and I was like, "This is weird." So he like sat in with me while I did it, and then I got called in the office, and they were like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to let you go." And I was like, "What? Like, why?"
Wow.
And
You
it was
just
just,
trained your replacement,
yeah,
basically?
literally. And he was just like, "Yeah, it is what it is." So I called Andrew, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm ready to go full in on the band." And then we did another weekend tour. We played a show to like four people for all weekend, like every show. Got paid in French fries, classic. And then like yeah, that's when that we got back that week, started cold calling, started to gain some hype, and then kept riding that. One of the member left, one of the labels pulled out, whatever. But then our drummer was like, "Look, these shows are huge, they're good, but I gotta get out of here. I gotta move to California. I'm ready to like take my life with my fiance
Uh-huh.
and ready to make it big." And I was like, all right, so let's play our last show. And we played our last show. It was incredible. It was phenomenal. I met this girl. Um, and so I was like, it's fine. I'll just spend more time with her. She has a hot tub at her house, anyways. The band's done, whatever. And then my friends reach out to me and they're like, yo, we just got this tour. So he's in California. The band is broken up, right?
Mhm.
Um, he goes, they're going on tour with a band called Hit the Lights. And they were like, yo, so, and they were a band called July, and they're from Canada, and they were like, our singer just quit. Would you be able to fill in for us? I do
Oh,
the tour.
wow.
Yeah, funny. Week and a half goes by. I'm going on tour. I'm talking to this girl, blah, blah, blah. I finished the tour on the last day home. I'm driving our van. They also wanted to use our van because they were Canadian. So I was like, fine. And I was like, we're not using it. Who cares?
They're like, "Can you sing and can we use your
Yeah.
car?"
And on the way home, dude, I got an email from Victory Records, and it was like, "Hey, we heard Storyteller. We'd like you to come to Chicago and do a little junket for us and see how it goes." So I called all the guys, and I was like, "Hey, I want this to happen. Would you guys be interested?" We do it. I get home. They're like, they heard this two song or the three songs that we had, the two that were recorded on a shitty demo.
Uh-huh.
And they saw the music video and they were like, we want to sign you, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, we wrote Coffee Talk. I wrote it about that girl. And
No way.
yeah, and then the rest is just boom, boom.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. So did the
Mm.
guy that moved to California come back and do the show?
Yeah, he was in exactly. We flew him back out. Dude, we had no money. Like we had to open up a credit card just to fly him out.
Oh man.
I know. Talk
And
about
so did
a
he stay
Hail
with you
Mary.
guys or did he just, or
Yeah,
did you guys, okay. So once
he
you
stayed with
signed, he
us
was
and
like, oh,
then
I'm gonna
yeah, he was
stay.
just back and forth in it. And then luckily we recorded the first album with Kyle Black out in LA, so he only had to drive from San Diego to LA.
Oh, he was in
Um,
San Diego?
yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
where I was.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
that's what happened. That damn he was like, "Oh, it's so nice here. I just go out and look I look at boats." I'm like, "All
Yeah.
right, dude, shut up. All right?"
He's like, it's sunny and 70 degrees
Yeah,
here every day.
literally. But then he was like, "Oh, wait, there's a signing on the table. Like, let's do it." And then he cruised with us and then we got all the way up to Warp Tour. And on the very last day of Warp Tour, he was like, "Guys, I think this is as far as I'm gonna ride this. I'm gonna go because I'm trying to have a baby." And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, "Oh, it was the best day and the worst day ever," because I was like, we just did an entire Warp Tour,
What year was this? Was this like,
2016.
oh, okay, this was the 20. So you had the album out with Victory at that time?
Yep, yep,
Okay.
yeah. Because once that summer hit, things were just like that. That Warp Tour 2016 pretty much changed our life for sure.
Did Coffee Talk take off right away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we put Coffee Talk out and we put the ads in front of like all the cool bands at the time. That was like a victory approach where there was like 10 seconds of it and something about a song starting with the chorus. It just really worked. And
Oh,
people were
yeah.
like, all if you go back to the comment, I still get this today. It was like, yeah, I saw your video on an ad of A Day to Remember or All Time, whatever, and they were
Yeah.
like, I thought this band was gonna suck, but it's pretty good. And I was like,
Thank you.
so yeah, so it's pretty funny, man. And then now the band is a completely different band. None of the members are the same except for me. And I
Same
just
members
feel
from last time we spoke?
yeah, same members from last time we spoke, minus a drummer. Now he's left again, baby. Drummers and babies, man.
Oh, wow.
They love to make families. So now we're just a three piece, and we hire out on the drummer, and we have a but we've had a friend come out with us the last couple of tours, and he's from Canada as well.
No
Um,
way. Wait, so
mm,
is Jeff not in the band?
yeah, Jeff is not in the band anymore.
Okay, because I remember
Hmm.
he was the one that he had all the like music knowledge, right? Wasn't he like a music school
Oh,
guy?
yes. And then after
So
him, it's like, oh no. Now
sorry,
what
I
do
don't
we
want to
do?
like open up a wound, but like,
No, 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 no,
yeah, I
no.
remember you guys kind of talking about that, like, because
Yep.
he when you guys recorded the album
Yeah, he
that
really
hadn't
walked
came
us through that.
out, yeah, it
Hmm.
was. So now you're a three-piece band.
Now we're a three piece. Yep.
Okay, well, just to kind of rewind to the point of where we spoke, it was COVID.
Hmm.
You hadn't put out the album yet, and then obviously, stuff has opened up, and
Sure.
so like once you put out, like, when did Into the Raging Sea actually come out? Like, do you remember what month? Because it was in 2020.
Yeah, I believe I don't remember what month, but I definitely remember it being here, I can look it up for you. I remember it
Towards the end
being
of the year.
yeah, towards the end of the year. And then we didn't end up playing anything until
Oh, I think I just found it
oh,
July.
July. Yeah,
Yeah.
July.
Okay.
So there we go. So like kind of right there in the summer, I guess, somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah, we
towards
didn't
the end of the month,
yeah,
end of the year.
we didn't
Yeah.
end up playing it until literally like almost a year after that. So the thing
Oh,
about that
wow.
record is it did well, but it was a good transitional record because dude, it's crazy. Like I literally, I don't know if I remember telling you this, but we recorded the videos and the singles for the videos, we flew out to LA. And then on the way home, on the damn intercom, on the plane, they're like, uh, CDC advises, or, like that you start wearing your masks if you feel comfortable, but don't worry about it. 2 days later, everything was locked down.
Oh,
That's it.
wow. No, you didn't tell me that. That's
Yeah. The same
crazy.
exact airport was like, we're closed.
Whoa. So you were flying back and forth. This is before,
Yeah.
obviously, everything
Like
shut
right
down.
before it. Yeah.
So you guys were doing the videos, all the
I think it was
songs were
like
done.
March. Yeah, like March 1st, I think is like when we got back. And then I think like March 5th, it was like, no.
Yeah, yeah. It was like the NBA stopped like in
Mm-hmm.
March like 11th or something. And I was like, okay, this is
Exactly.
bad.
I was like, oh, yeah, this is bad. Like if money makers want to stop making money, it must be bad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. So you had all the stuff done, all the basically the
Exactly.
videos, everything was ready. And then,
We were gearing up for PR, and then it was like, no, you're not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. I know that you had a tour booked. I think you guys were supposed to be in like Europe when I talked to you, and you're like,
Yep.
don't bring it up.
I know we had a Europe, we had a Japan, we had a lot of stuff.
Wow. Oh, so then it wasn't until like a year later. Like when did you
Hmm.
guys end up getting to get out and tour,
It
or did
was
you get
like
out and yeah push the record?
it was, dude, straight up. I guess it wasn't until like 2022, and then realistically, Dom and I, when this was because I moved here, we just went out on an acoustic tour, and that's
Oh,
all we could
really?
do. Yeah, we did an acoustic tour, just him and I, because there was still like no real offers on the table. And then I
Yeah.
think like 2 months after that, we ended up doing the tour with This Wildlife. So yeah, I guess it was like a year and a half after the record came out.
Oh my gosh.
And so at that
Wow.
point, it was like, okay, time to write a new album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So were you like during and all that time off? It was were you writing the new album? Like is you this album's coming out in a couple weeks, right? On the
Yeah,
10th,
yeah,
I think.
November
Yeah.
10th. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we didn't really start working on that. We've been working on that for about a year now, I think, with everything. So yeah, I think we got all the way through COVID, or we were all kind of like, what's gonna happen? Like, what are we gonna do with this? And then I guess in the back of that, our old drummer he met a girl, and I didn't realize that they were as serious as they were, and then they were, and then he was just like, I'm not, I can't do this next tour with you guys. And that was our headliner. So that would be our first headliner in the past 4 years. And he almost didn't make that tour with us, but we were like, hey, we'll pay you this. It'll be good for the baby, yada yada. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So he was like, yeah, proper send off. So we did the tour together, bid farewell, and then yeah, man, here we are. And then that's when we first started. That's when we were like, are we sticking together as a band? And I was like, hey, man, I've been through this a million times. Let's definitely do it. And that's immediately when we started working on the new record. Just work with some friends around here, and then also just Dom and I really back and forth and a lot. And then we got a decent budget from the label, and that's why we split this album with two producers who surprisingly said yes to us, like Andrew Bayless out in Nashville, who just did all the Jelly Roll stuff, and then Andrew Wade, who's did the like A Day to Remember. So like the other two guys in my band grew up here, so like to them, that's their hero. That's like
Right. So
the
you got to
Orlando
do
guy.
yeah, you got to work with him in
Yeah.
Orlando then.
Exactly. So the album was split, and all of my time, funny you should say Nashville, was spent going back to Nashville for film. We filmed videos there, music videos there, and then we filmed other ones in Orlando. So the record was split. I'd say 6 months in Nashville, 6 months here. Hmm.
Wow. Was it I mean, it must have been difficult going into this album. So Jeff, did he help you with this album at all, or he had left
So
already?
the first two songs he was in,
And
one of which ended up on the album, and that was One Last Time, because that came out like literally a year ago, which is crazy. And then
yeah, that was
after
the
that,
first single from the album, I
yes,
think, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then after that, he kind of bounced. So yeah, in the middle of the record. So it was like, oh, what do we do? And then we just kind of picked the sound and an idea and kind of moved between those two producers, and they really helped us formulate. But the producers were cool with not having a drummer, because just recording drums is
A
it's
nightmare, probably.
it's a nightmare. Yeah. So they were like, this is fine. We can program them and then just have a drummer come in. And we had like a friend help out with some of the tracks. Who's a drummer in another band here. And yeah, just kind of focused in on the rest of the sounds. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
did you have to like were all the songs done before he
No,
left? Okay,
no,
so
just
you
just like three or four, and only one of them ended up making the record. We kind of switched up the sound after that.
so
Also,
the
he wasn't
songs weren't
really
written, they were
right.
just
No, not at all.
okay, so it didn't really I mean, it must him leaving, you guys went a total sounds like a different
Exactly.
direction, I mean,
Exactly.
sonically, but even it wasn't like, okay, we were ready to go, we have all the songs ready, and now
Right.
he's
Yeah, it wasn't
skipping.
like that. Yeah, it wasn't like
Okay.
that. Thankfully.
Yeah. So did you
But
know
yeah,
you were gonna do an album at that time? I mean, you guys always do an album, which I love.
yeah, I love doing an album, but dude, at this point in my life, it's like I'm so terrified of like what else can I do? Like I've given myself to this. I've convinced myself that I want to wear the artist's skin, right? And so I'm just waiting for my big break. And I've had a lot of really good opportunities, done a lot of big things, but like financially, all my money goes right back into touring. You know what I mean? So it's like oh man, I just start to think like, what does the rest of my life look like? And I've been planning my life in increments of months for the past like 8 years. Like I go on tour, I'm like, cool, I could pay my rent for the next 3 months. Like it's getting to feel psychotic, right? So with this record, I was like, we need to make bigger songs, we need to do bigger things. I want to play bigger rooms. I want to impress other bands. Like shit, I'm trying to get on the radio, you know, and I have to. Like I understand that like that's the dream for everyone, but it's just like it's starting to not make sense to me why we stream so well online.
Yeah,
Like
you guys do. I mean,
we're
all
gonna
your you have
yeah, we might
millions of
pop,
streams
that's what I'm
on
saying. We
multiple
might pop a
songs on
million
every
monthly
album.
listeners after
Yeah.
this, but yet can't, you know, like it's just like bands aren't reaching out, things aren't working out for us. Like so things are good and they're fine at this level, but it's like, dude, I mean, I'm 10 years in. This is my fourth album. I'm about to play my 1,000th show that I've ever played on this next tour. And it's like, I have to really calibrate in my brain, like, yo, what am I doing? Like,
Wow. A
you know,
1,000?
I know. Yeah,
Damn. That's crazy you know that.
I know.
Like
It's
let alone that.
that's brain broken. That's called daddy issues right there. but
Wow.
but yeah, man. So I just that was the vision. Is like this is going to be the record that needs to change my life, and if it isn't, well, then I have to let it go away because it's not for me. You know, it's not supposed to happen for me at this point. But I feel like it will,
It's
and I feel like it can.
you're not yeah, I was gonna say no. Yeah, I mean the what you've achieved,
Yeah.
so many, I mean, it's well beyond 99% of people that go into this
And
industry,
and
right?
I do try to keep that in mind because I'm incredibly grateful. You know, like we just played Japan, and even though the shows weren't like popping crazy, there was like 50, 60 kids in Japan at every show singing the lyrics. Not even speaking English, just singing words that they heard me write. And then that's the type of thing where you go, "What is this?" Like, you know, praying to whoever, like, make it make sense to me. Please, like, make this real for me. But you know, so I've been kind of down that journey lately where I just want to be able to, I don't know, like not like we're still in a van, you know, like I'm like that sort of thing. Like I would like to get a good night's sleep on tour. I would like to not get sick on tour, like the bare minimum, you know. We pay
Yeah.
ourselves $10 a day to eat food still. That's I mean, it's just it's not sustainable. I'm about to be 35 on this tour. You know what I mean? Like when do I start thinking about me? All I can think of is what does the singer of a band do? Just stupid, but
I mean,
I want it to happen, dude. I want it
it
to be a
will.
reality, you know?
Yeah, I would be shocked if it doesn't become a reality in the next, this I was surprised that yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm just curious because I did radio. I was on the radio for
sure.
I was probably still on the radio when I talked to you last time. I was on the radio for like 17 years. And do people even care anymore? Does it matter even at all, I
That's
guess?
the thing is like it's navigating what does matter. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like you can tap into a gimmick, you can be sexy and cool on TikTok. It's just like there's so many ways to get where you're trying to get to. And I'm just like, my stupid ass is out here thinking, if I write a good song, man,
Well,
but I
that
still
is a
believe in
huge
it. Right.
thing,
I still
right?
believe
I
in a good
mean,
song, you know? I mean,
yeah,
that's
and
what raised me.
you've written 100 good songs.
Dude, thank you, brother. But
It's
that was the
yeah.
focus with this record was I experienced ego death. Um, when I moved here, my not to get super heady and heavy, but my fiance, the same girl, we she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we went through chemo together, and I was still having to go on like tour while she would be getting chemo. I was like FaceTiming her during this shit,
Oh my
and it
god.
really just like really started to spin in my head of like, what am I now losing by
Mhm.
trying to entertain people, by trying to convince people that I'm worthy of their time and like, you know, trying to convince people to feel better about their side themselves and to persevere and all the other things I talk about in my lyrics.
Mhm.
It started to really mess with me, man, because I was like, at what cost? You know, and it's like, sure, like this year I'm missing Halloween, Thanksgiving, and my birthday, and I don't get to celebrate that with her. And it's like, that's fine. I'll do it next year. But then you start to think of like, you never know. You never know
Right.
what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And she's 28 years old. You know what I mean? So it's like,
That's
what
oh
the
my
hell?
gosh, I'm so sorry, man. That's
Oh, man. I appreciate you. But that's the, so that the song Blue on the album, which is coming out November 1st. We're going to be using that as like another single before the record.
Okay.
That's what that song is about, you know? And so there's only one song on this album that's really about me. And that's what I mean with the ego death is the rest of these songs are just about good songs. I want every song was treated like a single. I want you to be able to pop in, listen to it, and go, "This is a good song." And if that's not a good one, maybe the next one. I feel like this is the first Broadside album. You know, I finally experienced not to be like, "Hey, I don't have a father. Listen to me." This and that. I'm able to push that aside and just be like, invoke a feeling or a sentiment by focusing on the music first, the melody very close second, and then the lyrics third. It allowed me to just be like, damn, this is just a good song. Every song feels like a single. And that's how I treated it. I want to show the music industry, people, uh, my homies, my friends, ex-girlfriends, whoever, like, oh wow, like this person is out here declaring that they are writing an album. And that's what it feels like to me. Like I'm no longer trying to impress myself. You know what I mean? I'm trying to prove myself and I'm trying to solidify that I was here. And that's, I'm starting to see certain signs of it, you know, um, through like press and just cool stuff like that. And that's good, but it's such a long, long game. And I can't lie to you, man, watching younger, hotter, more successful people come along and just get it like that. It's so hard not to feel like this empty wave of, and not even because I don't have that, but I just think about all the band members I've lost, all the friends I've lost, the fiance I almost lost. And I'm just like in pursuit of an idea that I had when I was 16. It feels so self-serving, but I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to do. I don't have anyone else to ask, what do I do? I don't have family business to go into. Nobody in my house, in my family owns a house. You know, like there's just like everything keeps accidentally progressing forward for me. And it's scary sometimes, but it's also really exciting because, you know, it's a constant state of fight or flight. So it kind of keeps me on my toes. But dude, sometimes I just want to feel good and comfortable. You know, like I'd love to, when I'm home, I'd love to not be thinking about tour. But right
Right.
now I'm just like, oh, there's not enough tours. There's not enough things going on. And it's psychotic. So I'm hoping with that mentality and putting out that energy into the world and into the music that we can start progressing into a place where we're just a good band that people like. I just want to be somebody's favorite band, you know?
Well, I think you are a lot of people's favorite band, to be honest.
That's fair.
Just to comment real quick on the
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you said you know, you're seeing these people that will like just pop up, like these younger people.
Yeah.
I will say, like the fact that you have been a band and with the longevity you guys have done and the amount of albums you've done, like not most bands can't say that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think if for me, if I was in a band, I would want to have your guys' career versus like, okay, I have this one song and then it popped off on TikTok and then
Sure.
like, you know, then it had this many streams and then it was on the radio for 10 minutes. And then it's like, but then what? Like
But
you
then
have
what?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of those people have no back catalog, have no concept of what's happening. It's like they were just thrown in the you know, fire for a minute. And it's
Yeah.
like, think of all the bands in the 90s or earlier that had one song and it's like, you know, where are they
Yeah, that's such a good
at?
point. And do you know did you know what's super trippy is like we went on tour with this band last year and we took them out on our headliner and I was talking to their singer and I was just looking at him. I was like, you're just so cool looking and you're just so they're happy. They're still skateboarding before they play, you know, they're going on stage sweaty and shit. I'm like, what the? And I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, man, you're the GOAT. And I was like, thanks, man. And he was like, no, seriously. When I was in eighth grade, I loved Coffee Talk. And I was like, eighth grade, bro. I was working on my third armpit hair and trying to hold hands at my friend's birthday party. What are you talking about? Um, so you know, I think a little bit of that's involved too. I think I am going through that you know,
Yeah,
checking up
midlife
on
or
myself. Yeah,
quarter life
some sort of
crisis type
crisis.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude,
Just because I
100%.
was like, oh, thanks, bro. I am the GOAT. But on stage that night, bro, in my head, I was like, this mother eighth grade.
Like, God damn, I'm old.
I was like, no way. This guy might have wrote Broadside on his little spiral notebook. Like, that
He
is
probably
crazy.
did. He probably wrote the lyrics to Coffee Talk on the back of his like on the back of his science book or something.
But in that,
Oh,
I find joy in that too. I am happy, and you're right. Like whenever, thank you for saying that. Like whenever somebody reminds me of like time, that is precious, and it is nice to know that like I may have existed in some capacity of another singer being like, oh, I want to sing like Ollie, and that's pretty rad, you know?
100%. Yeah, and the fact that you guys have grinded it out and done what you've done and achieved what you have, not that's not the norm anymore. And I don't think
Right.
that's the longevity for that is there. I mean, the longevity for what you guys did is that's
Sure, sure,
worked
but
since
totally
the
different now.
beginning.
Yeah,
But like the
good
internet
point.
bands, like it's yeah, it's I don't want to I'm trying to think how to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Whatever. I remember like Palfu, for example.
Mm,
He had Coffee Talk, I think was the name of the song. Not Coffee Talk. What the hell was that song called? Something about coffee
sure.
also. Coffee in your head or whatever it was. Uh I interviewed him during COVID and it was like that song was like peaked, but it was like
Okay.
the only thing he had out. It was like they're asking him to do a show and he's like, I don't,
I
I
can't.
don't know if I can cover 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the
You know what
thing,
I
dude.
mean?
It's
Like
it's uh
that's
it's
crazy.
it's trippy. I think about that stuff all the time. Like, for instance, when we went to Japan and none of our tracks worked the very first day, and I was like, all right, looks like we're gonna DIY this shit in front of all these really cool Japanese people. So
But you can do that because
yeah, we
you're
can do
used to
that.
you've played a,
Yeah. We played
probably
a shed before, you know,
right,
like
100%.
yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't envy the idea that they have to create a persona and then be that persona online and offline, because in like I was
Forever,
saying,
right?
I used to use the internet strictly as a tool, and I still do. I'm able to be like, you know what? I'm not straight up not going to go on the internet for 3 weeks, and it's fine. Whereas like
Mhm.
some artists can't do that. They just
Right. They don't go on
their
the internet
fans
for
will be
3
like,
weeks and they're gone. They're
yeah,
non-existent anymore.
right. So that is a very unfortunate real reality. You know, they're like, oh, I gotta remind people that, and that's the other thing is like seeing in real life what TikTok numbers translate to real life ticket shows. Anybody can watch a video, but not everybody's going to come out and stand on their feet for 3 hours and watch your band jump up and down on stage. You know what I mean? It's not the same as a 20-second video. It's just not.
No.
Yeah. So,
And the TikToks, yeah, and I've had a lot of conversations with artists about that too. It's like you could have a billion streams or whatever on one song or a lot
mhm.
of video, shares on this one thing and then you're known as that one thing and but there's nothing else there's no like depth for the person to be like, "Oh, I'm going to go pay $20 to see this
Yeah.
band and I'm gonna take my evening. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get a babysitter, and I'm gonna go to this show."
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
like why would, a lot of people wouldn't do that just because they saw a video thousand times. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that you guys could pull tickets and you've been doing this for such a long
Yeah.
time, and you've had those opportunities. It's like it's different. Like, oh wow, Broadside's coming. Okay, I'm gonna go. I
Right.
don't even know what their new album is, or maybe I haven't
Right.
seen listened. Oh yeah, I just see your name on a flyer. Like, oh shit, like I forgot. Like I haven't heard them
Yeah.
in a while. And then you're going back, and it's like, but they know they're going to go to the show because they remember being a fan for
That's
whatever.
a
So
good point.
I don't know. I just think you guys have something, and yeah, it's gonna continue to catapult forward. But did you
Thank you.
know you're doing an album when you started it? I mean, it's since you've always done albums. Like, at what
Yeah.
point did you kind of have that realization? Like, every song is gonna be like, were you having those thoughts when you went into the album? Like, every song's got to be a banger, like, or a
Oh,
big song you were kind of saying.
yeah, yeah. So we definitely started with One Last Time, and once that single popped off, we wanted to write a song that kind of paid tribute to the first two albums, since the third album went kind of artsy and dark, you know? And so we were like that, and then Jeff ended up leaving the band, and then we were like, okay, let's start writing some songs. And then once Wade, we got the email saying like Andrew Wade is interested in working with us, we were like, oh, we got to write an album, because like Catch Me Rolling Up, and this guy's like, these suck ass. What are these songs? Um, but yeah, this is the first time also that we have more songs recorded that ended up making the album. So like we could eventually have like B-sides and shit.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, which is really rad. So we didn't know until I'd say that we got that email. So like One Last Time, is on the album, and it pays homage, like I said, to the first two, like kind of
And
like
that has big numbers too. I mean,
right,
it's
yeah,
not,
big. I
it
mean,
did really
and
well right out the
even
gate.
live, it's crazy. Like when that song come, like we're starting our set with it this upcoming tour, but
Oh, rad.
live people just go ape shit for that, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? So, um, and that's the other thing, dude, is that we're experiencing like people that haven't heard some of the old other stuff. They've just heard like Raging Sea or this new stuff, and it's like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah, and that's insane because then
yeah,
they'll
that's
go back
kind of
and hear
nuts.
those other old songs and be like, "Oh, wow." Or
Oh
like, "Oh,
wow.
I didn't realize that this is the," I mean, you said Raging Sea was more of an artsy
Yeah.
kind of, pivot, but that song did, I mean, that record did awesome as well. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that did
like
really well,
it
especially considering we
flopped, you know what
didn't
I mean?
ever play. We've done maybe one full tour playing Raging Sea songs,
That's
in its
crazy.
entire existence. So that's good. That gives me comfort in the songs. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, but I feel like, yeah, once Wade confirmed, I was like, okay, so let's write an album. And then he was like, what do you guys want to sound like? And we started thinking about it. I was like, I want to be like the band Camino, Taking Back Sunday, and I don't know, some artsy stuff in there too. So there's always a moment in every song that has like a little sonic level. Like the end of one of the songs is like this really cool like break house beat for like 20 seconds. Just these little moments of like ear candy where you go, what? And that's to me what it's always been so exciting when you're listening to a song and you go, shit, let me rewind the whole song just so I can experience this 15 seconds. And like,
Yeah.
if you can make somebody turn to the next person and be like, dude, did you hear that? That's so exciting. That recently happened to me at the gym with the new Blink record. And I was just like,
Okay.
dude, because me, I'm like, all right, it's not going to be take off your pants and jacket, like who
Right.
cares? But then I listened to it and I'm like, dude.
I have to
So
give that record more time. I'm from San Diego. I grew up in around
fair.
Poway where the band's from, and
Yeah.
you
What
know,
What do you think first couple listens to? Is it just like not hit with you or what?
it was, yeah, I don't know. I've given it one full listen, and the
Yeah.
singles were, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't
An
know.
Another point that I want to make is my favorite songs in our album are not even the singles. And that's the most exciting part. Like when you listen to an album and you get to a part where you're like, yo, why was this not a single? That shit
Right.
is exciting. And we have a few songs like that. And that's how I feel about that song Terrified on the new Blink album. That song really was like, what the hell? This is sick as hell. And that's when it really started to make me think like, okay, now they're famous, right? They're celebrities, so they got
They're
to do
huge.
these
They're like one of the
singles
biggest
for
bands on the
right.
planet, right?
So
Yeah.
then you go, okay, I get why they had to put these singles out, right? But then I hear a song like that, and I'm like, oh, this feels good. It feels good that they're like, hey, this could be the last record for real this time because of all the stuff that's going on.
Right.
And that alone, I was like, good for you. Because at first I was like, get out of here, bro. Make some room for the rest of us.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Tom's back. Now just do a tour and play all like the old albums, and then just
yeah,
hang up the cleat.
just
You
go,
have enough
dude.
money.
But then I was like, maybe these guys actually like their band and that's why they're writing another album. So once I started
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about it from
hard.
that angle, I was like, all right, do your
I'll have
thing.
to listen to that Blink song because like I said, I haven't given it a chance. I kind of
Fair
was just
enough.
like,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
because
Totally.
I
Totally
did that
surface
when,
level.
because I was a huge Alkaline Trio fan, and when Skiba joined that band, I was like, what? This doesn't even make sense. And then you listen to those two albums, and it's like you could totally tell which ones he wrote, and I
I
don't know.
know.
It's
Yeah,
not a
the
Blink
divide is
album.
clear. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair.
but yeah, man, I'm excited for the album, and you have a lot of features on the album too, right? A
Hmm.
lot of people jumped on.
Yeah, yeah. We luckily, like I said, so we used the maximum budget that we could, which is good. Because one, it gave me an opportunity to have other cool vocalists that we've had the opportunity to tour with in the past and just meeting them. And they're all my friends. I could text any one of them right now and be like, hey, ugly, like so, it's nice to be like, friendly like that. But in the same regard, they're not just like, hey, a cool person on a song, like some of these it'd be easy to go and get some really cool people and they're like, all right, give me $5,000. I don't give a shit about your band. Um,
Right.
and it's like there's that angle, or you could put a voice in a place where it belongs. So all the songs were recorded with my vocals first. I sent them to those individual artists and we're like, I want you to do this, but give your own flair. And they did. And then so yeah, so we have three features. We have Devin from Honey Revenge, we have Josh from Magnolia Park, and then we have the singer of Home Team as well. So like those are just really unique and amazing voices, and I'm so happy to have them on the record and happy that we could actually pay them and not have to be like, hey man, I got you in the future, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so the three that are out that have the features on them, those are the only features on the album?
Yeah, those are the only features on the album, and we put those out as singles, just to kind of get people hype on it, and then also
Yeah.
like, just to be like, hey, look at what we can afford, look at what we can do now, And those are the most like kind of exciting single like songs. But that's what I was saying. I feel like when people want to dive deeper, that's there for them on the album, which is I feel like a reward, and that's what makes it really, really nice. Is like it's a journey, and it's kind of a concept of an album, so it
Yeah.
works. Yeah,
Is there like, I'm just like on the album, you have to love all the songs, and I even hate asking this question, but I'm just curious because you said like some of the non-singles
sure.
are, what would you like? Is there a particular song on the record that you're just like, this is like my favorite song I ever wrote?
Yeah, How to Love and How to Lie is one of my favorite songs ever. It's kind of like a Cure song. The guitar tones in it are really like hollow body guitar sounding and
Oh,
just
cool.
really, really gnarly. And then the lyrics, the chorus, I kind of got influenced by Robert Smith's cadence and some of the stuff. And then yeah, I just really like songs like that it just feels like there's a message here and I just want to hear it again. And it kind of sounds different than the other bits of the record too. So that excites me. There's a song on the album called What Have I Done? And it's just about our fans, and it's just a love letter to them, just saying like, what have I done to deserve your love? I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And then, the verses are like, don't go. I want to hear you. I love it when you sing the lyrics and like that kind of thing. And I mean, that's what I'm saying is like I'm at a point where I just want to thank people who care. And so that's pretty fun to just write a song about. Like that's what I'm saying is like I can tell you what a song is about in a sentence now. Whereas back in
Uh-huh.
the day I used to be like, oh, when I was in seventh grade, like it's like, like now I can just be like, this is a letter to our fans. How to love, how
Yeah.
to lie is just straight up how it's easy to lie to your friends, your family, and stuff as you get older because it might hurt them to tell the truth and you want to keep them around. It's pretty simple concepts, but in a melodic, cool, broadside way. And that's the other thing, dude. This is my fourth album. I'm like, I'm doing whatever the hell I want, Like
Yeah.
I'm just writing songs, just hoping they work, but also at the same time, I'm like, well, this producer's incredible. The song's going to sound fantastic. Let's write a good song, Like let's write a good damn song.
Yeah.
So
Did
I
they
like that.
change up? Like, did you have the songs and know which? Because it sounds like, I mean, you did.
Mhm.
You split it up between Nashville and
Yeah.
Orlando. Were there certain songs that you're like, okay, this producer would be better on this song, and
Yeah.
or was it
So
like in the moment kind of?
Yeah, so there's like kind of two tones. There's like the songs that have this like kind of deep punch, alternative or rock radio sound, and that's what we really wanted to go with Wade. And then
Mhm.
we really wanted that like twang, kind of like hopefully we'll play Coachella, Bonnaroo kind of
Okay. Yeah.
vibe, and we went with Bayless on that. There's a song on the album called Dazed and Confused, and it's just rocking immediately from the intro, and the lyrics are you know kitschy and cute and cool. And but the song itself, I mean, there's a damn guitar solo in the middle. That's how
Damn,
unattached
that's
to it.
rad.
But I'm
That's
like, dude,
rad.
let the band just rock for a second. And there's a lot of those moments where I'm just like, that's how I know I'm getting older, dude. I just want to sit back and watch the band play a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's really cool.
um, but yeah,
I love it. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much again for
dude,
doing this,
thank
Ollie.
you.
It's always
I'm so
such a
happy to talk to you again.
This has been awesome. I know the tour's coming through Nashville, which is rad. I was looking at
Yeah.
the dates earlier. Wildlife and you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, December 4th. Exit in. I'm going.
All right,
Got to
good.
mark it
Let's
on my
hang out then.
calendar. Yes.
All right,
No,
good.
I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, you guys are doing Atlanta and then Nashville. So
Mm-hmm.
sweet. And then you can come check out the area and then, put some money down on a place and
Let's
you know,
go. And run
November
shirtless
10th
through
when
the
November
neighborhood.
10th when you guys get, you get a day of rest and then
Yeah,
just load up the U-Haul.
there it is. I love it. I love that idea. Dude, thank you so much for your time.
Oh no, thank you all. You've been awesome. I have one more question for you real
Yeah,
quick.
hit me.
I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, of course I do. So my advice to any aspiring artist is to go with your gut instinct. And that's just whether you're an artist, you're a painter, you're a thinker, you make sandwiches, okay? Go with your gut because nobody is going to be able to convince you that they have a better idea than you. At first, you have to be comfortable with trusting yourself. There's all this talk about trusting the process, touching. There is no process. There is no path. There is no what you have to do, right? There's certain things that come along. But if you can't sit with yourself and feel as if you can flesh out those ideas with yourself, you're never going to feel comfortable giving that away to someone else. So all you're ever going to give away is just fragments of an idea. But if you can sit, convince yourself, tell yourself, I am worthy, I am capable, and I'm functional, those three elements of your art, your time, your love, your passion, um, I just feel like it's a surefire way to at least be like, it's not about being famous. It's not about making it happen. It's simply about knowing the difference between a bullshitter and somebody who genuinely believes what they are talking, thinking, praying, doing in their free time. So get comfortable with trying all the weird stuff in yourself, in your mind, in your brain, and then no one is going to be able to take that away from you. Bringing it backward.